Good morning everybody, it's Wednesday the 6th of May 2020 and I'm really excited about today's learning because today we are being geographers. Geographers are a type of scientist that learn lots and lots about the earth. And we're learning about the earth today, and specifically we are learning about something called the continents. Can you say continents? Continents. A continent is a really large area of land that's made out of lots of different countries. It's got lots of different countries inside it. And it's usually surrounded mostly by water. The Earth is made out of 7 continents. How many continents are there on the Earth? 7. There are 7 continents on the Earth, and we're going to find out about them right now. But we can't find out about them from here when we're sat on the Earth. We need to be looking from above. We need to be up there. So, are you ready to go into space? I thought you were. You're always ready to go into space. Let's get our space seatbelts on. And we're going to start at the school. So, now we've got our space seatbelts on, I'll drive us to the school and then we'll go into space. Ready? Okay, here we are. Here is our school. This is our top playground. This is our bottom playground. This is our building. There's our Ash class. And there's our big field. We are going to zoom out. So I'm going to go to the zoom out to the minus button. So I'm going to zoom out now. And we are going to get further and further away from Earth, like we did when we visited the planet that time. Do you remember? Oh, there we go. We're going to zoom further and further away. Bye, Twyford. Oh, I can see Winchester now. There's the city of Winchester. I can see all of Hampshire now. I can see the Isle of Wight. Oh, I can see London up there as well, that big city. I can see the Solent, the water, and the oceans. And now I can see another continent, the continent we're on. Oh, we've zoomed out so far. We are now in space and we can see the Earth from space. And we can even see all the clouds over it. It's quite hard to see the continents from here, isn't it? But as you can see now, the Earth, as we all know, is a sphere. Ooh, I've lost where we've gone now. I'm trying to find the UK. The Earth is a sphere. Oh, there's Australia. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. Well, that looks like an icy place. Oh, goodness me. There we are. There we are. I'm going to go back to where we were. So, if I click on this button here, it will disable globe view, which means it will go 2D, which means it will be flat. So it will still be a picture of the Earth, except instead of being a sphere that is round, like a globe, like the Earth is, it will show us a flat version that looks like a map. And that's all maps are, really. There we are. That's all maps are, really. They're just flat versions of the Earth. Okay, so we can see where we live by this red dot here in the village of Twyford in the country of England in the United Kingdom in the continent of Europe. The continent of Europe. Can you see all those little white lines on the land? Those show you where different countries are. So here is a separate country, there's France. Here is another big country there, there's Germany. Our country here, an island that's split into Northern and Southern Ireland. And we have got the continent of Europe. And Europe includes all of those countries, plus this enormous one up the top here called Russia. Russia sometimes is part of Europe, and it's sometimes part of the biggest continent in the world, which is this one here we're going to talk about in just a minute. So, which continent do we live in? Europe. We live in Europe. The biggest continent in the world is this one over here, and it includes countries you will probably know like Europe, like Russia and like China and like India and Japan. Have you heard of some of those countries before? The biggest continent in the world is called Asia. Asia. The biggest continent in the world is Asia. The next biggest continent is this one over here that's near Asia and it's below Europe. This continent has got lots of different countries, including this island of Madagascar, and this continent is called Africa. Africa. So the biggest continent is Asia, the next biggest continent is Africa. The next biggest continent is over here to the left of Europe. And this is where Donald Trump lives. This is America. In fact, this continent includes the United States of America, but also Canada, and the continent is called North America. North America. And North America is above the next continent that is called South America. South America. So we've got North America, and below it we've got South America, and South America is where you'll find countries like Brazil and Venezuela. Lots of lovely chocolate comes from this continent. Right, so we have the biggest continent, which was called Asia, and then we had the next biggest continent that was called Africa, and then we have North America, and then we have South America below that one. The next biggest continent, I'm going to have to go to the bottom of the globe, to the pole. It's this one here, Antarctica. Antarctica. Not many people live in Antarctica, as you might guess. Antarctica is the next biggest. And then the second smallest continent you already know, because I've told you about it. It's where we live. The second smallest continent in the world is Europe. It's still very big. It's much bigger than Twyford. In fact, it's lots and lots of countries all together. There's Europe there, the second biggest. And finally, the seventh and the smallest continent is all the way over here, below Asia. And this is where my mummy and daddy live, around here. This is the country of Australia in the continent of Australasia. And sometimes people call this continent Oceania. So you might see it Oceania and you might see Australasia. It includes countries like Australia and New Zealand and lots of other lovely islands too. And it's the smallest continent in the world. So those are the continents of the world. I'm going to show you a map now that will show you again those countries and those continents of the world, but it's got something extra on it. I wonder if you can notice what that is. Have a look. That's right, it had a big red line across the middle of it. That wasn't a mistake, don't worry, that line is supposed to be there. Now what that line shows us is something called the equator. The equator. Can you say equator? Equator. And the equator is like an invisible line that goes around the Earth's tummy, a bit like a belt. And you can't see it in real life. You couldn't go and visit the equator because it's invisible. But what that equator does is it shows us the middle part of the Earth, and it separates it into two different halves. We call those two halves hemispheres, the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. So let's have another look and see if you can find the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere in the picture of that map. Well done, and bonus points if you could name some of the continents that are in the northern and the southern hemispheres. The northern hemisphere has continents like Europe, Asia, North America, and the southern hemisphere has continents like Africa, South America, Antarctica, and Australasia. You are going to create your own maps today. So I've given you a blank one that if you have a printer, you can print and you can label and colour. If you don't have a printer, that's okay. You can still draw the rough shape, doesn't need to be exact. You can create your own map. But the idea today is for you to make your map and to show where the land is, where the oceans are, to show where the ice is at the poles. And you can even draw on that equator line and to show the northern and southern hemispheres. What you could also do, if you fancy a challenge, is you could label these 7 continents. If you're in the mood for a sing-song and you want to learn more about the continents, then I will put a link to a really cool song about the continents. It's called The 7 Continents Song by Hopscotch, I think, and it's on YouTube. I'll put a link to it underneath this video. So if your grown-up says it's okay, then you can watch that. It's a really nice video and it tells you a little bit more about the continents, and it's quite a catchy song that will help you remember their names and in the right order as well, in size order. Have fun making your maps today. I look forward to seeing them with all their different colours and labels on. And I hope you have lots of fun learning about the continents. It's an amazing place, the world we live in. It's really cool to learn about, so enjoy. I will see you tomorrow with another daily learning challenge.